Hello, everyone. Today we're taking a look at NEO, cryptocurrency analysis and prediction. Welcome back to Crypto Cash. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among other things. Now, before we take a look at NEO, please consider subscribing to get notified as soon as these videos are released. This gives you a head start so you can effectively plan out your trades and making an informed decision. I have years of trading experience, and my goal is to share my knowledge with the cryptoverse. So thank you very much for tuning in. I always like to start with the fundamentals and then dive deeper into the technical data. I also provide you with action plans for the future so you know what I would do in each scenario as a day trader and a swing trader. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video for my recommendations. Please note, this is not financial advice. This video is designed for educational purposes only. Now let's get started with the fundamentals. NEO bills itself as a rapidly growing and developing ecosystem that has the goal of becoming the foundation for the next generation of the internet. A new economy where digitized payments, identities, and assets come together. They have a market cap of 9.2 billion. Max supply is 100 million, currently at 71% of its total supply. Today's high is $133.83. Today's low was $73. It's an increase of 46%. Before we get started, I want to say thank you. Shout out to my Telegram community here. They are fantastic. They were able to point this one out to me, and I've learned quite a lot about it. Seems very, very legit. So you guys are the best. Thank you so much for that. Now, in regard to the price, it's changed dramatically in the past 12 hours. If it wasn't for the Bitcoin sell-off from yesterday, this probably would have continued even higher. But today definitely made up for it. This currency started the year off at $15. Now it's upwards of $125. The major resistance level is $133.83. Secondary resistance is approximately $129. The major support level is $76.55. Secondary support level is approximately 100 even. This was tested twice in the past 24 hours. And now for the technical analysis. For my day traders out there, as you can see on the 15-minute chart, NEO has spiked up tremendously over the past 12 hours. It's just shy of 50%. Also, to quickly note, the moving averages are going to be non-factors for a while, so don't bother using those for at least a couple of hours on the 15-minute chart. The only indicators to bother with using is the RSI, in which it's significantly overbought, not an ideal indicator at the moment for a long position. The MACD is also overextended and appears to be losing momentum. The best indicator is the VWAP. You'll probably hear me say that in every single video. That is my best friend, whereas it's always trailing behind when the price jumps up like this, so it won't be relevant for a short while. So my recommendation here is to not take entry until the price calms down a little bit more. Perhaps by the time you see this video, the price could have leveled out a little bit better. Just don't buy into the hype, that's all I ask. Wait for realistic indicators to show you the best entry point. For example, if I were to day trade NEO right now, as is, I would first wait for the VWAP or the 50-day moving average to be tested before taking position. And when I say tested, I'm referring to waiting approximately 30 to 45 minutes after either of these two lines are tested. I'd like to see at least two full 15-minute green bars, and based on the previous price action, I would only add to a small amount of my initial position, maybe around to say 25%. So I would only add 25% for my starting position. And for those of you who are new to the channel, I'm a huge proponent of making sure that I take entry only after the support and resistance levels are tested a few times. I recommend you might consider doing that yourself. I've been burned a few too many times by taking entry without confirmation, so it is not an ideal recommendation to take entry if you don't have all of the appropriate indicators. That said, once I get the indication of a buy signal, I would go in about 25%, but only 25%. And the reason why I wouldn't go 50%, 75 or higher is because of the price action being the way that it is. You'll also hear me say this time and time again, don't go all in as a day trader or short-term swing trader. Also, I do not love day trading currencies that spike up or down followed by short periods of consolidation. So in this scenario, even though there isn't any consolidation, it was a large spike, and I prefer to wait until there is something that is a little bit more manageable. Regardless, I always wait for confirmation, so do yourself a favor and adopt this mentality because cryptocurrency has a lot of hype and a lot of pumps, And if you jump in, you're going to get burned. There's nothing worse than buying at the peak and seeing the price just plummet after you jump in. All right, so try not to do that. Be patient. It's helpful. Now, regardless, in this scenario, what I would do is I would want to find the best entry, in which switching over to the 1 minute chart would probably help me out the most. I don't always recommend the 1 minute chart because there's a lot of noise, but finding your entry point can be very helpful if you look at the shorter time frame. Just bear in mind you want to use the VWAP to see how it's respecting the price. If the VWAP is acting as support level, just say no less than 30 minutes, I would add to my position. If the price rejects and drops below, I would sell my profits, whatever's left of it, even a small potential loss. That's okay. Again, I only went in 25%, right? The key here is to not go all in immediately after a violent price increase or decrease. So take that away from here if you can. That is the important thing here. Just trust me on this. Be patient. You'll be happy you did. On the inverse, if I'm feeling bearish, which is rare, but I do sometimes, I get the indication that the price is going down, then what I would do is I'd pay attention to the support level established by the VWAP once more. And I'd also ensure the support line to see if it drops below. If the variance is large enough for it to drop and break and stay below the VWAP, then I would take a small position and wait for the RSI to indicate that the price is considered overbought. Typically, anything under 45 is a good entry point. I'd also recommend using the MACD. So in this situation, I would look at the MACD just to see if it's trending downward and losing momentum. If so, I would think that this would be an ideal indication of a short-term short position. And I would also remember to average down by selling small portions of my total so I can essentially take profits whenever possible in case the price corrects itself. Now, for my swing traders out there, taking a look at the 4-hour chart, I want to note the moving averages don't have any effect and will not for some time until they catch up with a price hike. It's pretty common for the moving averages to be kind of irrelevant unless you use shorter ones. I prefer the 50 and 100 myself, but if you're like, do you feel like the 7 or 15, that might factor in for you. But I personally don't like to use those. So just keep that in mind. So in this example, normal situations like these, it's best to use other indicators for obvious reasons. So what I like to do is look at the relevant indicators instead. First things first is the RSI. It's still considered overbought at approximately 70. This is not a great indication to go long. I prefer anything under 70, not sitting at 70. Also, the MACD is trending upwards for the second time in the past 24 hours. This is a positive technical sign for bullish sentiment. However, MACD can only have so much momentum for so long. It almost always will die off after the second or third bounce. Okay, so this is a positive technical sign again for bullish sentiment. However, just bear in mind that depending on what happens with the resistance and support levels, the momentum could shift. Okay, so be mindful of that. When the overall sentiment is still very bullish, the best thing to do in situations like this is to use smaller time frames. Okay, so again, very normal to have to go down to a smaller time frame because a very large time frame gives us a bird's eye view. It's great to kind of identify certain indicators, but you really don't know what your entry point is going to look like, right? You need to shorten it up. So 5 or 15-minute time frames are probably the best. I would rather use that instead. Now, with all the recent volume, I want to highlight the fact that the VWAP would be, again, the most relevant because it's based on the volume weighted average price, right? The more volume, the more relevant it's going to be. So what we do is we'd use a VWAP to identify support and resistance lines to see if they're getting respected. I'll explain in my example. Here's my plan to swing trade NEO today. If I was feeling bearish, business as usual. I would ensure the RSI is overextended in the 80s and see if the price hits the resistance level of 129 or 133 and holds below for at least two 15-minute red bars. Once I get both indications of a sell signal, I would only put in about 20% of my trade position until I keep getting confirmation it's moving down. I love selling in small positions, so I'm usually selling and buying in at roughly 20% of the time. This ensures I'm always profitable. It works very well for me. I might recommend you adopt a similar philosophy. Sure, I do miss some opportunities. I get that question a lot, but I also miss out on negative opportunities, if that makes sense, right? My losses are smaller, but my gains are greater because I'm having more green days than red days. Okay, I literally only shoot for 1% per day as a goal. And as long as I hit that, I'm always growing, and it will eventually become exponential. Now, for a long position, which I always prefer, I would wait for the VWAP on the 15-minute chart to get tested at least twice, maybe even 3 times. And I know this is another broken record, but if you're new to the channel, pay attention to this. This ensures the price is staying consistent. I would then take a small position, only about maybe just say 20%, 25 maybe, after the VWAP bounces upwards and closes staying above with 2 to 3 green bars, right? So again, 30 to 45 minutes is ideal. That is the time frame that I like to wait to get my confirmation in scenarios like these. And just to clarify, when I say 2 to 3 green bars, I'm referring to is basically 2 15-minute candlesticks closing one after the other. At green, essentially, one, the closing point is higher than the previous open. Now, if you're subscribed to my channel, I'm, again, so sorry for the broken records here. It's just extremely important to wait for confirmation. I just try to drive that home in all of my videos because I think it's something that we commonly overlook. Sadly, a lot of traders don't understand this. Now, in this example, when I say to wait at least 30 minutes, I say this because the price action was so severe recently that you need to wait longer for confirmation. 5 to 10 minutes will not cut it. Now, in this example, the next indicator I would use is to see if the resistance level is tested. In this case, I believe the first potential resistance is 129, and you guessed it, before I take a position, I would wait to get confirmation before adding to my position. If I get a good confirmation though, I would go approximately 50% further into my position and then start taking my profits as I get closer to my goal. And also, prior to all of this, I would have set a goal before getting in. My general rule of thumb for swing trading is approximately 5 to 10% gains. I know that's kind of lofty, but again, if I'm holding for hours instead of minutes, it's tangible, especially in markets like these. Now, what I would recommend, and this is what I do too for day trading, maybe just the best good starting point for you is to shoot for 1 to 3% gains per day, or at least per entry and exit. You want to shoot for 1 to 3%. Now, if you need me to explain this further in greater detail, please contact me on Telegram. I've got an awesome community growing over there, and I'm very, very thankful for them. So you guys know who you are. Thank you very much. But I can't stress this enough. Make sure you set a target, and if you don't hit your target, get out and take your damn profit. The key to being a profitable trader is to survive to trade another day. If you found benefit from this content, please like and subscribe. And please also let me know your thoughts if there's anything I can do to improve your trading experience. Feel free to contact me on Telegram, Instagram, or Twitter. Links are in the description below. Also, comment below and let me know what positions you're holding and essentially what other currency you may want for me to go ahead and analyze. I have a growing list of currencies that I'm getting requested to analyze, which is fantastic. So I typically prioritize them based on the amount of requests I get per currency. Either way, comment below. Let's get engaged. Let's communicate. Let's grow, learn together, and build our wealth. Thank you so much for watching. We'll go ahead and see you again soon.